Plot of the movie. It's very, very simple. You have a couple, Issa Rae, Kumail Nanjiani, and they're having a difficult time right now. After 5 years of relationship, I think it's 5 or a couple of months of a relationship, they are hitting a rough patch. And now they're involved with a murder. Now they have to solve that murder to get off the hook. That is the plot. That is simple. It is not complicated whatsoever. It's very simple, which could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on who you are. Issa Rae, yeah, she's funny. She's good. I don't think anybody would. I hate to say she's a terrible actress. I think she's a good fit for the role, and I think she did a good job. And she probably improv a lot of her parts because this script is very flimsy and kind of very simple. So clearly, she had to have a part in her improvisation, like from when she kicks a door and cracks her heel. There's a lot of things like that. Also, she's actually a great fit with Kumail Nanjiani. I'll talk about him a little bit later, but they actually have some great chemistry together. That's one good thing about this film. Other than that, she isn't like a standout person. You're not going to sit here going, oh, is she the breakout star of a long time coming from now? Is she's going to be like this A-list star? Not really. I bet if you watched Insecure, you probably liked her from there. So if you liked her before, you're going to like her now. There's nothing that's going to make you not like her. And I think that watching this movie, you might enjoy her a little bit more than usual if you haven't seen her before. So this is a good jumping off part for her. But she's going to need a lot more roles that highlight her talents. This is not the perfect step. It's a good step, but not a perfect step. Also, when I mean funny things, I mean like this in a second. Kumail Nanjiani, he was actually really funny. He's like Issa Rae, they were both funny. Is this a breakout role for them? No, because it's not a very memorable movie. But it's for them, it's a good step and something to put on their slate. Be like, hey, I did this movie. Let me show you my talents. It's that. But at the same time, it also I gotta appreciate the fact that it doesn't really stick to stereotypes. They're not stereotypical. You know, have Issa Rae playing the ghetto black girl, and you have now Kumail Nanjiani. He's more of a kind of a documentary kind of person, which is a fresh take. He's not just like a tech person though. They would just throw him in because he's of Middle Eastern descent, which is good. Unfortunately, it doesn't give him enough ground because they never really evolve it. They're like, oh, will you? This is gonna be a little bit spoiler territory. They're like, oh, well, she hasn't seen his videotape, and at the end, it's she's happy that she saw it and they didn't talk about it. It's very simple and it's not that complicated. But one thing I gotta say is that both of them together, they were great. They were enjoyable, but unfortunately, the plot just didn't really come together to make this a strong view. That's about it. But also, let me show you just a brief clip of what he did. Is this movie a bad movie? No, it is not a horrible bad movie. So don't you're gonna be enjoying their parts. There's gonna be times when you laugh and you're gonna have jokes for probably like a couple hours after talking about with some friends. But is it a good movie? Not so much. The biggest problem with the movie is that it's a lot of improv and not a lot of story structure. There should be a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the biggest problem is there's a beginning and middle, but it's more of like a beginning, slight middle, and all of a sudden there's an end. There's not really much of a hook. They're not really interested in that part. They're more interested in what the actors can do. So probably with this film, they recorded a lot of improv, but didn't really have a structure for it. And that's where its biggest flaw is. Also, we need to talk about the fairy tale ending. Because, wow, this movie talks about, yes, they're having like I said earlier, they're having a trouble in the relationship. They're not married, but they're still thinking about, again, a little bit spoilery, they're thinking of separating. And are all upset. But all at the end of the movie, all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, we solved it. We're all together now. It's like, no, that's not how a movie like this should work. I mean, you could do that in a movie before, and there's been movies that have done that before, but they're not that. good, because you could clearly see that that doesn't relate to real life. And also, they don't really go into detail much. They give these characters surface values, like, oh, he's a director of some sort. And they don't really go into their friends. Like, they have friends that are looking for them to go to a party. And they show up for a couple seconds just to quickly switch into another outfit, and then they're just written off. You never see them again. They're just there, and then they're gone. Also, the crime itself is just solved within a couple of seconds. You find out who the murderer is and what he's about, and they just solve it within the last scene. Now, if you don't want, again, I've said spoilers. Pretty much, I don't want to say spoilers too much, but it's just the fact that it's so obvious who it is, and by the time you know why he's doing it, you just don't care. You're just like, whatever, like, wow, that was dumb. Furthermore, this movie, what it really could have done is have a statement. Now, I don't know what statement the director wanted to have, but the biggest problem is the movie doesn't really have anything to say. Because you could be funny, you can have even some comedy elements, or you could just be like horror. This is a murder mystery. We could talk about like movies like Get Out. Well, Get Out had bigger tones to it, and other parts that were talking about racial equality stuff that's important. And then you also have just thinking out Groundhog Day, another amazing movie, which is mainly a comedy, but it has something to talk about living your life to your fullest. You have movies with statements. This movie does not have that, and it should have had that. Movies with statements, they make an impact. Movies like this, they're just fun popcorn. Turn on Netflix and have a good time. And that's what this movie is. It's a turn on Netflix and have a good time kind of movie. That's about it.